That's our last album. With a question mark. This is the last day of the tour, but I feel alright. I mean, they get tired because we've been on the road like quite a few weeks now, so but I'm not tired of doing it, just a bit physically. Wasn't bad. I mean, we had loads of problems breaking strings and on-stage monitor sounds, and the monitor guy tonight was the worst in the world. But apart from that, we really enjoyed it. A nice crowd, and yeah. I just can't believe it, because you got punks and skinheads and metalers and normal people and young and old just all together, and it's like, it's really nice. You know, there's no violence, and it's really nice. The live band is the most important thing. When you start a band, you don't have a record deal. You've only got the band. So the live band thing, even if we didn't have a record deal, we'll still do gigs. You know, the records are important, but they're just secondary for us. I mean, when we release a record, we don't tour to promote the record. The only reason the record's there is to promote the tour. So it's like the opposite way around. We try to keep it like it's escapism. It's not comedy, and I hate the word fun punk because they just don't go together, those two words. But it is just escapism for like one hour or so, you know. And it is to smile and forget about what's going on in the world just for that short time. I don't mean forget about what's going on in the world forever, just for that short time. That makes me smile. I just can't believe it, you know. It's just because we love doing what we're doing. I know it sounds ridiculous, but we've been doing it a long time, and I think as soon as you stop enjoying it, then it's best just to finish. We don't like to tour too often because we get bored ourselves with it, and the audience gets bored. I think you have to leave it like 2 years or 3 years. And I think we're never on the television or in the public eye or anything, which means we can never go out of fashion. So it always stays at that level. And the audience is very, very loyal throughout the world, so which I'm really flattered about. I think it's just because you continue playing year after 2 years, after 2 years, after 2 years. If you get a really big record deal and become on the television, MTV and everything, and then that stops, suddenly the audience forgets about you. But if you're just at that level all the time and you don't have the MTV coverage and all this kind of thing, if you keep at that level, even if you just keep at that level all the time without a record deal or anything, you've got the loyal cult following which helps you just maintain that level all the time. We signed to EMI in 1981. I would never do it again, but in the beginning you make all kinds of mistakes. They said, would you like a record deal? And at that time I thought, oh yeah, no one else is interested. and I just thought, fantastic, you know. And these things you do when you're a lot younger, you know. I would never do it again. I would never sign to a major label. Never. Unless we had complete artistic control over artwork, songs and everything, then that's all right. With the record company I've got now, like, we're in control of everything, and they just do what we want, so it's fine. If it wasn't for punk, we wouldn't be here, you know. But we never really called ourselves a punk band. We just called it Toy Dolls music, even though punk, it is in the punk bracket. Punk is the most important thing to us, and it is essentially, it is punk. But we just call it Toy Dolls music. But if it wasn't for punk, the Sex Pistols and the early punk bands, we would never be here. If it wasn't for punk, you wouldn't be accepted as a singer. You don't have to be pitch perfect to be like a punk singer. You know, it's like an opera singer where everything has to be absolutely perfect. With a punk thing, if it's a semitone sharp or flat, it even sounds better sometimes, luckily for me. So I think things like that, and you don't, you know, being a punk guitar player, you don't have to play 1,000 notes like heavy metal, you know, you just have to, it's a different kind of guitar style altogether, and a lot of people can do it early on in the career of learning to play the guitar thing. We come from a very working class background. It was a poverty-stricken place where we come from. Yes, it definitely does, because that's one of the reasons, like, we started the band. You know, it's how we felt, and maybe in the same difference, exactly the same difference. In Orange County, you got bands like Offspring and things like that. That is their sound. It's a much richer kind of place. But yeah, I mean, I don't live in the northeast of England now anymore. I live in the centre of London. It's a different world completely, and maybe if I was born there, the songs would be different, or maybe I wouldn't even started the band. So it definitely has an effect. It's definitely an inspiration, that everything that's going on, economics, and definitely. In the US, it's a very slick production. Everything's perfect, excellent. Where the early English punk bands, it sounds like it's recorded in a living room, a different thing altogether. But I prefer the English punk, not just because I'm English. You know, I think Green Day are absolutely fantastic, one of the best bands in the world. But I prefer early English punk. When you're writing a song, lyrics are really, really important to me. I mean, not everyone all over the world understands the lyrics, but they're really important to me. Well, what usually happens, if I go to buy a loaf of bread, like they say, and come back home again, I'll write the whole story. I'll write down lots of references to do with bread, going to the shop, buying the bread, all the things that's happened on the way, coming back, and write down all the references. Then look at the story as a whole, that I can pick different parts of, but it takes me a hell of a long time to write a song. But I think you're right about English, it's a bit different. throughout the West America, definitely. Sometimes when people leave because they want to get married or they want to get a proper job, sometimes you think, here we go again, somebody's left. But this happens in all businesses, all throughout the world. And if somebody leaves, if you just think, let's just finish, then all businesses would just collapse. You know, I mean, when Marty left, the last drummer, I thought, Jesus, I just thought, God, I cannot face this again, another person. And I really loved the last drummer, and I thought, well, if we don't find somebody again, none of the fans will ever see the band. So you've got to think of them, and you've got to think about yourself as well, because this is what we do. And I think you just have to keep looking for a drummer, but it gets harder and harder all the time. Project, you mean next one? Well, apart from touring for the rest of this year with this band, when that finishes, I'm going to sit down and write another Toy Dolls album.
Next title would be...
the album after the last one.
It was a joke.
No, it's not a joke, it's a question mark on, and it might be true. So there you go. You never know. Bye-bye. Thank you for the interview. I'm flattered that anyone wants to do an interview, you know, really. But thank you very much. And thank you to everyone that come tonight as well. Dankeschön, merci, gracias, arigato.